What's happening, sports fans? Greg Medford from MKT USA. Handele, handele. No, on Belay, on Belay. On Belay, on Belay. Just fucking around. It's Friday. They try to keep me on a leash around here, and Amy lets me out. So, we launched on Belay at SHOT Show, I believe, in January, and it was kind of a surprise hit. The knife's lines run a little contra to my normal thing that I have affection for, and when I first started putting the knife together, I wasn't sure what to do with the back end, and then when I put the back strap in with with the back spacer in, I built a notch, a slot into it for putting like a nylon strap for a lanyard, which I thought would be kind of cool. And then I kind of fell in love with the knife, but still I hadn't put it in my hands. Then we got them made, and I was like, oh. And I've kind of fallen in love with this knife. Now, right now, I'm actually carrying a Proxima, so this is kind of my favorite knife we've ever made. This is the short Canties, for a lack of a better term. And I've just been in love with this knife. I've been in love with this since it got made. And I carry this. This is what I carry with me all the time now. I don't know. I wasn't a flipper guy, but I guess I'm kind of a flipper guy. But I'm not into like the nuance of flipper. I just like a flipper for its convenience, I suppose, like many other people. So I'll pull back from the 38th parallel of my flipper hostility. I kind of dig it. And I've added a little bit of flip into a lot of the knives now. I wanted to show you, when we launched the On Belay, we did it differently than in the past. In the past, I've offered everything, because people call up and say, hey, Greg, can you do that? No, I misunderstand the question as a businessman. Greg, can you do that? My answer is, well, yeah, I can do that. I can do anything. I'm Superman. I can do that. And as it turns out, can and should are two different things. And what really should be the question is this. Greg, can you do that and still manage the workflow of all your variations within your company and keep the majority of your customers happy? And the answer to that is no. So we pulled back, you'll notice a bunch this past year, on all of the permutations, because there are I think, 180,000 permutations of the Praetorian. And we had to pull back on that. Because think about it, when there's 30 or 40 options, and remember, every time you add an option, you double your SKUs, because you got to add that option in all options. It's just like that old thing, would you rather have $1 million or a penny a day doubled for 30 days, right? A penny a day doubled for 30 days, you're a multi-millionaire, or $1 million. Which would you rather? Well, the kid always says, well, I'd rather have $1 million than a penny a day doubled for 30 days. Okay. So that's what happens when we add permutations. It turns into a penny a day doubled, and it's just fucking maddening. So we still offer more options than just about anybody in the business, and the On Belay comes in 5. This is the way we're going to launch stuff for the next couple of years and see how it goes. It seems like it goes really well. We're going to launch a new product in 5 versions, and we kind of launch a small batch of some number, whatever we decide. When I look at it and I kind of go like, all right, let's make 1,000 of those, or let's make 500 of those, and then we break that into 5 groups, and we make the first group a way, the second group a way, the third group a way, the fourth group, and the fifth group. So when, let's say, a company comes to us and says, Greg, we really want to carry the On Belay at our company, we want to take 10 of them, and I say, well, why don't you get 5 of the first variant, because I'd rather have them have 5 that sell out than have 10 with 3 sit on the shelf, and then it seems like it's not a good product because it just came too big with too many of the same things. What I want to do is say, hey, listen, why don't you take 5 of the first version, and about the time you sell out of those, we'll have 5 of the second version coming. So it gives me the option to get 25 knives to the marketplace instead of 10, and they're different. Anyways, I'm just trying to bring, as our price point, Amy, what's the price point on this On Belay? Is it $550?
$575.
$575. This is a big ass, very handmade, very hand finished, hand ground, hand chamfered, blades hand ground, hand softened and chamfered, lapped in all by hand. I mean, a very, very handmade knife, all made 100% in-house, with a lot of the cool guy factor that comes from, custom makers that make 10 knives a month. It's got all of that in a knife, $575. So I think in the high-end knife world, it's just an absolute smashing bargain for what you get. And this knife functions so nicely. Amy, if you want to drop down with the camera a little bit. So this is version 2. You remember version 1 was bronze titanium sides with a tumbled blade. Then we went to a black with opposing grinds. So this I generally called our kind of tuxedo configuration. And then we try to do, opposing textures and colors so that you get the full effect of the knife when you look at it. And these knives, they thumb beautifully. They actually flip really nicely. And it's solid as a tank. There are no bearings in this, so this is not a departure from my style of making. This is a big, fucking, heavy, badass knife. And I'm just in love with this knife. It's just turned out to be like the surprise of the year. And then version 3, which I'm calling reverse tuxedo, for obvious reasons. It's going to be blackened out hardware, blackened out blade, all with PVD. And reverse blackout clip.
I love that clip.
And then it's got the engraved MKT on it, which kind of sticks out. So these are kind of opposites of one another. They're kind of, tuxedo and negative. I got to tell you guys, I just absolutely love the knife. And I hope you guys like it as well. And, I guess, some people are, I get guys in the industry always go, dude, you just tell everybody everything you're up to. And I'm like, yeah, why not? I got nothing to hide, man. Just kind of hang it out there. I don't need any, spooky fake perception, or I don't need any trickery for this stuff. I just hope people really dig it. And I want you guys to know, as we're thinking about these products, as I think about them, and as, the whole company, everybody that's here, we're not thinking about, hey, how can we get more money from the marketplace? We're thinking, that's a way of thinking, and there's nothing wrong with that. And maybe sometimes that comes into play, but I've never heard anybody here say that. And even if I try that exercise of thinking that way, it's just not, how can I get more money from the market? I don't even think about that. Our kind of raison d'etre is, how can we make a better product and get it to more people? How do we get, and it's not just drop the price. If it's drop the price, then the way we do it is we outsource it to China, and we all just agree that mediocrity is good enough. And I've had some people kind of bag on me for saying that. Besides the fact that China is like a mortal enemy of our country, I have no problem with the people or the products they make, okay? If Americans come to them and say, we want the cheapest knife you can make, that's what they get. So, I guess China's gotten a bad rap, and because of their, China gets a bad rap from me because of their morality of their way they conduct business. But you got to remember, all the cheap Chinese products that make it here, it's because Americans have asked for them. So they're delivering what we've asked for. And a lot of that outsourcing, it is coming from one place. How can I get more money out of the marketplace? It doesn't come from how I can bring a better product to marketplace. That's the reason I brought that up. I'm not in a big bag on China mood. I'm not happy that they came out today and said that if we attack Korea that they're going to fight us, because that just sounds like if you fight, we're going to war. But we say the same thing, so it just put the president in check a little bit. I'm curious to see what happens. But I suppose it's important to know kind of what drives us and what motivates us. And what motivates us and drives us constantly is, how can we serve people better? How can we get them a better product? How can we get something that lasts a lifetime? How can we get something that doesn't cause us a bunch of phone calls for problems? And then as we grow, I had somebody really bag on me, like, how can you be charging so much money for knives that you're a big factory and your production made now? And I'm like, well, we are considerably bigger than we were when we started, but we're still hand ground, and everything's still really done by hand except for the holes that are put on at the mills. Our quality and consistency is much better. And you don't start seeing those giant economies of scales on frame locks. You start to see them when you do liner locks. There are ways of layered manufacturing that really drives the cost down because it requires way less handwork and detail. On these frame locks, I mean, to have a frame lock the size of the on Belay coming across the line at $575 retail, it's fucking fantastic. Anyways, I hope you guys really dig it. Greg Met from Met for Knife, Amy on the camera from MKT USA. I'm out!